If you ever ask my coworkers what it's like to work with me, they'll have a lot to say. But if you specifically ask for any weird things or bad habits I have, there's one in particular almost every engineer will bring up after working with me. I leave a lot of logs around, like far too many. In the T3 chat codebase alone, I think we had to clean up over 1,000 log statements that I just left around. I love just dropping a console log to figure out what's going on, and I can't tell you how many times one of these random logs made it way easier for us to debug something going weird or just not how we expected. That said, I need to be honest with you guys. Logging sucks. And I'm not the only one saying this. Boris just wrote an incredible article all about the problems with logging and how we do it today. And as somebody who is known for logging way too much, I couldn't agree more. I am so excited to break all of this down and explain the ins and outs of how logging at scale works and all of the problems with the traditional way that we log data. Since we're about to go deep on something that sucks, we should take a quick break for something that's awesome. Today's sponsor. 2025 was the year AI started writing the majority of our code. I think 2026 is going to be the year where AI starts running a lot of that code too. You need somewhere safe to run it. You can't just let AI write a bunch of code and execute it all over your machine, certainly not on your production servers either. So where are you going to put it? I think Daytona is going to be a hard place to beat. Daytona deeply understands infrastructure, and they've found the right combination of servers and serverless and SDKs to make something that is really, really good for running AI code. I'm just going to grab the snippet from their homepage to explain this to you. You instantiate a Daytona SDK, you create a sandbox by calling daytona.create, where you can optionally pass a specific programming language. You then get a response by simply executing the code. Sandbox.process.code run, this console log, and now you get a response. It's that easy to execute code remotely, safely. You can even control what access it has, what permissions it has, can it browse the web, can it do all these types of things trivially. You could even expose your own stuff to it if you want to give it some MCPs or random SDKs that it has access to. You have full control over all of that. Anything you can do on a real server, you can do on Daytona. There's a reason LangChain, BrowserU, Samba Nova, and Process all are using Daytona for their agents. It's so much easier to manage. My own channel manager, Ben, has been using Daytona to run open code in the cloud so we can have a bunch of background agents just tackling random tasks. If I was building a background coding agent tool, you bet your ass I would be building it entirely on top of Daytona. The reason why is simple. It's fast, scalable, and stateful. The stateful part is what's so cool. When it's waiting for tokens to be generated, you're not being billed on the wait time, you're just being billed on execution time. And the state just stays there when you're waiting for the update from the LLM. It's so hard to balance this out where you can write a file and expect it to still be there the next time the thing spins up, while also not charging you for the entirety of the time that server exists. It's so nice, and it really feels tailor-made for the use cases that we have with generating code and running it through stuff that agents are trying to spit out. And if you spin it up now, you'll get $200 in free credit. What are you waiting for? Check them out now at sodev.link/Daytona. Let's dive into why logging sucks and also how to make it better. I love this opener. Your logs are lying to you, not maliciously. They're just not equipped to tell the truth. You've probably spent hours grepping through logs trying to understand why a user couldn't check out, why the webhook failed, or why your P99 latency spiked at 3 a.m. You found nothing useful. Just timestamps and vague messages that mock you with their uselessness. This isn't your fault. Logging, as it's commonly practiced, is fundamentally broken. And no, slapping open telemetry on your codebase won't magically fix it. Shout it from the mountaintops. I have so many issues with OTel. I don't want to just make this a rant about OTel. I legitimately prefer console log to OTel for most things, but we'll get there as we get there. Let's see what's wrong and, more importantly, how to fix it. Core problem. Logs were designed for a different era. An era of monoliths, single servers, and problems you could reproduce locally. Today, a single user request might touch 15 services, 3 databases, 2 caches, and a message queue. Your logs are still acting like it's 2005. There are a lot of things like this in tech. I have been resisting the urge to do like a 2 to 3 hour schizo rant about everything I hate about file systems. The idea that files should exist in folders that are nested, hierarchical, and have no ability to share content between them instead of something like a logical tagging system is so rudimentary and wrong that the way file systems actually work entirely ignores the paradigm of how they're exposed. Most file systems are just a list of files with the folder as a tag or name key in it somewhere that you use to create the hierarchical system that users expect. We have just been pretending files and folders are the right way to organize things on our computer for like 4 decades now. And logs are a similar thing. Logs were made a long ass time ago. People mostly understood them, so nobody's bothered to challenge the fundamentals of them. We still use computers the same way that UIs were invented with the original Macintosh. The same 3 buttons in the corner, the same mouse with the same click behaviors. We don't like change unless we really need it, and that's how we end up places like this, where logs still work as though everything's running on one server that the database is actually running on top of. That's not how anything works anymore, so this system sucks. Just as a silly example from literally earlier today, I was filming a video about how we built the wrapped feature at T3 Chat. And this feature was only debuggable because of ways that I added logging in and how good of a platform Convex is. But this one was complex because things existed in a lot of different places. There was the UI state, what the user was seeing and what state their device was in. There was the feature flag, which was coming from PostHog, which actually would be blocked if you had an ad blocker on, which was really annoying. There is the Convex database where the data gets put and stored. There's the Convex query layer where you're querying for what the data is and if you have it. And then there's the Convex workflows that actually run the generations, all being run on top of the PostHog data sets. So we have 5 parts of Convex, the user experience, the backend on Vercel, which thankfully we didn't have to touch too much. That was basically written out of this one, unlike for everything else in the product. And then PostHog as a source of data, and then Convex again is the location the data goes when it's done. That's a lot of different places with a lot of different things, and I honestly can't tell you what's going on in some of them at all. I have no idea if there's a place in PostHog where you can see logs for attempted queries and their success and failures. I couldn't find it. So all of the logging had to happen in this control plane, so I built a bunch of logging for this to figure out what was going wrong, but now it's scattered across a bunch of different things. And then if another user was to do this at the same time, the logs get all mixed up together. The prod logs look way worse than the dev logs do because different requests get intermingled. If 2 things happen at the same time, it logs them when they happen. You can't clearly see what happened for a given request. Obnoxious. And this is just some of the problems that are about to be discussed, I'm assuming at least. But I couldn't agree more. When your single request is touching all of this different shit, just logging step by step is not giving you the experience you need. Here's what a typical logging setup looks like. We have a log chaos simulator. I hit process order, and all of the logs for this come through. It received the request for the checkout, it parsed the body, it validated the JWT token for that user, confirmed that it's valid, created the order, validated the cart, checking for stock of the items. Once it's confirmed the stock's all good, it processes the payment, calls the Stripe API, takes a while, declined because of insufficient funds, attempt again, successful, order confirmed, response sent. That makes sense. For one user, this is easy to follow. Watch what happens when we bump the number of users up. Now it is impossible to know which user we're looking at any given time. This is just 13 users, and it's impossible to see which user did what where because the logs are just coming in as the things happen. Hell, sure, you can add some clever ID system to track what request all of this is coming from and then make a custom UI to group based on that. Good luck. Let's see where this goes. We already use OTel, so we're good. No, we've already discussed that. This is just tracing with extra steps. No, this is a philosophy. You want wide events, and if they are your traces, awesome. Similar to what I just showed for how we do it with T3 Chat. Logs are for debugging, metrics are for dashboards. This distinction is artificial and harmful. Wide events can power both. Query them for debugging, aggregate them for dashboards. The data is the same, just different views. Remember that dashboard I was just showing? We have a bunch of similar ones. I have the OTel traces production dashboard that is really useful for seeing what different trace types have different request times, what the average span duration is, and all this other useful stuff. But I can go break down a specific trace. And if a user has an error and they get a trace ID in the UI, they can send it to one of my teammates and we can go paste it in the trace ID search and immediately see exactly what happened to that request. It is both. I'm actually pumped that we have hit all of the important points in this article. Good job, team. I did none of this. This is all Julius and Mark, mostly Julius, to be totally clear. Then we have the high cardinality data, which is expensive and slow. Sure, it's expensive on legacy logging systems that are built for low cardinality search strings. Modern columnar bases like ClickHouse, BigQuery, etc. are specifically designed for high cardinality, high dimensionality data. The tooling has caught up. Your practices should too. Yes, totally agree. We use ClickHouse for all of our logs for analytics stuff. I just used our ClickHouse deployment on PostHog for the T3 chat wrapped feature. Axiom built their own crazy database technology that's incredible. There's a reason they can get the prices they get and the performance they get. It's because they built their own crazy solution for this in particular. And the payoff's incredible. When you implement wide events properly, debugging transforms from archaeology to analytics. This feels LLM written. Instead of, the user said checkout failed, let me grep through 50 services and hope I find something. I've been there way too many times. I'm so thankful I don't have to be there anymore. Now you get, show me all checkout failures for premium users in the last hour where new checkout flow was enabled, grouped by error code. One query, sub-second results, root cause identified. Your logs stop lying to you. They start telling the truth, the whole truth. As a super generous offer, Boris closes this out with a crazy offer. Fill out this form and he will tell you what's working, what's not, and where you can save money with your stack. I've considered doing a stack roast thing like this, but it's so much work. I wish him luck. So cool, though. Good questions, too. Like, how big is your team? What languages are you using? What platforms are you using for your compute? What databases are you using? If you check other, does it not have a field to put in convex? Come on. Convex is also my compute layer. What data are you collecting? What observability tools are you using? Look at that. Axiom made it in. Incident management with PagerDuty, Datadog, all those. You get the idea. What coding agents do you use? And what's your monthly observability spend, log volume, number of services, etc. Super, super cool. This article was incredible, and Boris is such a bro for writing it, sharing it, and making offers like this. I highly recommend giving him a follow if you haven't. A link to his Twitter and the article is in the description, as always. I think that's all I have to say on this one, though. Curious how y'all feel. Was this as cool as I thought it was? I know logging is not the most popular topic, but doing it right is essential for building good, stable production services, and I think we can all learn something from this type of work. I'm so thankful for my team for getting this all right, so my dumb, bad console log practices aren't affecting us in production anymore. Curious how y'all feel, though. Are you excited to go fix your logs, or are you annoyed you just watched however long of a video this is, all about logging? Let me know how you feel, and until next time, peace nerds.